Okay, I think we are live now. If you can hear me, please do let me know. There was some technical issue. I guess now we should be live. Can you hear me? Is it audible? If it's audible, please do let us know so it will be easy for me to continue. Okay. Okay, fine. Thanks for the confirmation. Aishi, Manjunath, they all say we are live. They can hear us. Okay, hello, CN Murthy. Welcome to the live session. Let me quickly tell you about the logical reasoning, the subject as such, then we'll proceed further. So first of all, what you have to understand here is logical reasoning is part of the CSEET program, and this, as you can see on the screen, is for 25 marks out of the total 200 marks. So it forms considerable chunk of your entire syllabus. And one of the best things which the institute has done in recent times, I keep saying this in every live session, but it is worth repeating. When you prepare for CSEET, especially the logical reasoning part, you'll be not only preparing for CSEET, but you will also be preparing for other exams which you may wish to appear. Because logical reasoning is one such subject which is part of almost every competitive exam nowadays. Of course, the level will be slightly different, but I would say when it comes to CSEET, it is not of high level, maybe like UPSC exams, but it is also not of low level. It stands somewhere in the middle ground. So if you prepare for this, you will be able to make sure that you don't have to prepare again for CSET if you are appearing for, let's say, banking exams or any such exam. Anyway, let us quickly look at the syllabus and then we'll proceed towards few questions. I have picked few questions from different topics so that we will be able to cover a wide variety of topics. Now, we start with the logical reasoning part, then we have the verbal reasoning, and finally we end up with non-verbal reasoning. Apart from this non-verbal reasoning classification, I don't know what is the logic behind this verbal reasoning and non-verbal logical reasoning classification, because there are topics here which overlap. That means you can either classify them under logical reasoning or you may classify them under verbal reasoning. Sometimes it really doesn't make sense why it is classified. So I would suggest forget about the classification. It's not very important. What is important for us instead, okay, I hear, okay, I see the message from Aishi. She says my voice is low. If that is the case with others, please do let me know. I think my mic should be fine now. Is it low for everyone else? Let me increase the volume here. I think it is 100%. If it is still low, please do let me know, Ayushi. What about others? Can you hear me? I hope you can. Anyway, so where were we? Forget about the classification, not very important, because all that you have to do is just prepare for the exam and look at the topics. And one big disadvantage with this particular topic, that topic being universal, is so far the institute kind of has discarded the questions which are already there in the reference material. Of course, they don't call it as study material, something which you should be aware of. Normally, when it comes to executive or professional, the institute calls it as study material. You are given the material from the institute, that is ICSI, and you refer to that material and you study. Whereas when it comes to CSEET, they haven't given any reference material, but instead you have been, any study material, but instead you have been given a reference material. That means it is not necessary that institute should pick the questions only from this, and more often than not, they will not pick from the study material, or rather the reference material. So what I would suggest is practice the questions based on the topics given here. Whichever topics which we have here, like for example, calendars, cause and effect, clocks, coding and decoding, all these topics are there. You can find n number of questions online. So if you can practice those questions, that would be more than sufficient. What you can do is you can just refer to the material and try to understand what is the topic all about, and then solve the exercises which are already there in the reference material. And once you are done with this process, you can then proceed towards the next process, wherein you will be looking at other sources as well to practice more and more problems. Due to the pandemic, you will not be most likely be able to go to a center and then take up the test. Most of you will be taking up the test from your homes, and as you may already be aware, the institute conducts the exam for CSEET using the proctor mode, wherein you'll be monitored throughout the exam. That's what the institute says. But one disadvantage of that mode is you will not be allowed to use calculator. Even though the problem involves calculations, you will not be allowed. And you are also not allowed to use a working paper. So these two are disadvantageous, but that's how it is right now. So we can't help it. We'll have to make sure, in spite of these shortcomings with the present mode of exam, though temporarily, we'll have to practice so well that even without using the calculator, even without using the working notes or paper, you should be able to crack the question. Now, of course, the institute says you have to use your mental ability. I hope you can, whatever it is. Now, what we will do is, we'll take a few questions and try to solve those questions. So that should give you a broad idea as to the kind of questions which the institute asks, or the kind of topics which we have in the syllabus basically. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts with regard to any of the questions which we will be discussing, you may drop your question in the chat window here. So I'll be monitoring them continuously. So let me directly proceed towards the questions. Okay, now we have a question here. Okay, let me just change it. Let me read out the question and then we will try to solve the question. There are 7 friends A, B, C, D, E, F and G in a 7-floor building. The ground floor is number 1, the floor above it is number 2, and so on. Okay. E does not live on an even numbered floor. G does not live on the topmost floor. Only one person lives between E and G. A does not live on even numbered floor and does not live below F. D does not live immediately above or immediately below G. There are 2 floors between D and E. Both B and C live on even numbered floor. G and C live in between the 2 floors. F lives on floor number 5. Okay, there is only one information which they are given directly, that is about F. They say F lives in floor number 5. Apart from that, we do not know who lives in which floor. That is what we are about to find out. So what we can do here is, anyway, they have mentioned ground floor is number 1, and we'll just keep on writing the other floor numbers here. So if this is 1, then 2, 3rd floor, 4th floor, 5th, 6th and 7th. So we have these many floors here. Let me just draw lines here so that it will be easy for us to identify. See, in these type of questions, it is necessary to use working paper, but anyway, I hope the institute doesn't ask these type of questions in the final exam. It's very difficult without the working paper. Now let me write the information which is readily available. What is that information which is readily available? What can we start with? Can anyone answer this question? I'll just wait for you guys to answer because it will take some time. There will be some streaming lag. If you can answer, then it would be great. With whom can we start? Now we have to start the solution at some place. The question is in front of us. Whatever information they have provided, with that can we start solving the problem? Is there anything which we can start with here? There is one information which is readily available. We can perhaps start with that. Can anyone answer as to which information is that? No one? Okay, I see at least 6 of you here. Anyway, let's start with F, because if you look at the question here, the last line of the question says what? F lives on floor number 5. So that is something which we are aware of. So I can write F here. Okay. F lives here. Now, what else is given? The ground floor is number 1, that is fine. E does not live on an even numbered floor. Okay. So which are those odd numbered floors then? Odd numbered floors would be 1, 3, 5 and 7. So these are the odd numbered floors which we have, and E perhaps lives in one of these floors. That is what we can infer. Now what else is mentioned? G does not live on the topmost floor. That is, floor number 7 is something, or rather somewhere where G does not live. Okay. F, only one person lives between E and G. Okay, this is a very important statement. Can someone tell me what we can do with this particular information? They say only one person lives between E and G. Now, if that is the case, if let's assume for a second E lives in 3rd floor, because E lives in an odd floor. E does not live in even number floor, means he lives in an odd numbered floor. If E lives here, and if there is only one person living between E and G, let's say G lives somewhere on ground floor, in this case there will be only one person living between E and G. What they are indirectly telling us is both E as well as G, they live on odd numbered floors. They do not live on even numbered floors, but instead they live on odd numbered floors. So that is something which we are told indirectly, of course. Let me just write here E and G. Now, what else? What other information is provided? A does not live on, A does not live on even numbered floor. Okay. He also lives on odd numbered floor. Okay, interesting. A also lives on even numbered floor, odd numbered floor. That means A will also come under this category. That is 1, 3 and 5, 7. Okay. So we have this much information available. So what else is given? And he does not live below F. If he does not live below F, that means he lives above F. If he is living above F, obviously there is only one floor which is not even numbered above F. Which is that floor which is not even numbered and also above F? That is very simple. There is only one, which is floor number 7. Once again, what we understand here is A does not live on even numbered floor and does not live below F. If that is the case, which is that floor which is above F and not even numbered? That floor is none other than floor number 7. So therefore, A lives on floor number 7. So that is something which we get to know. Okay. So that we can easily write down. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that it will be easy for me to work. Fine then. So now A lives here. That is something which we have easily identified. Now what else is there? A does not live on even numbered floor, that is done. D does not live immediately above or immediately below G. Okay. If G lives, okay, G cannot live there because he lives in an odd numbered floor. If G is living here, let's say floor number 3, they say D cannot live immediately above or immediately below. That means D cannot be here, D cannot be here. So D may be in floor number 5, floor number 6 or floor number 7, or maybe floor number 1. Okay, so that is what we get to know from this. And they also say there are 2 floors between D and E. So this information gives us a very big clue as to who lives where. Okay, let me just quickly erase this part. Where is that? Yeah. Now, if E is living here, since E lives in an odd numbered floor, if he is living there, there should be a gap of how many floors? At least there should be a gap of 2 floors. Okay. So if E is living here, D cannot live here, but instead, not even here, but instead here. Okay. So that means what? We have 1 and 2 floors gap between where E is living and where D is living. Wherever those two are living, there should be a gap of 2 floors. Now between E and G, there is a gap of only 1 floor. Whereas between D and E, there is a gap of 2 floors. That means if there is only 1 floor gap, D also lives in an odd numbered floor. Since there are 2 floors of gap between D and E, D does not live in an odd numbered floor, but instead D lives in an even numbered floor. That is something which we understand from this sentence. Which sentence? There are 2 floors between D and E. So now that we have sorted that out, let us quickly summarize whatever we have learned about who is living where. Now what we have already understood is E, G and A, they live on odd numbered floors. That is 1, 3, 5, 7. Of course, F and A already sorted out, so we don't even worry about A. Okay, so let me just erase A. Okay, so A is taken care of there. We are only worried about E and G. A and F already sorted out. So EG should be put in a floor which is odd numbered. That is something which we will do. Okay. Now, what about the others? Who are the others? The ones who are left out now. We haven't identified where B lives. We haven't identified where C lives. Nor have we identified where D lives. Out of all these, we have only identified where A and F live. That is on floor number 7 and floor number 5. Okay. So now let us try to identify who lives where based on the clues which we have already deciphered. What we have understood here is D lives in an even numbered floor. He does not live in an odd numbered floor because of the gap between D and E. Then what other information is given? So they also say both B and C live on an even numbered floor. Okay, that we have already identified. G and C live in between the 2 floors. Okay, another important information. G and C live in between 2 floors. That means there is a gap of 2 floors between G and C. Now let's do one thing. Let's try to understand, or rather try and place D first, then we'll come to others. What is the condition which is mentioned with respect to D? Let's go back to that. D does not live immediately above or immediately below G. Okay. So now we have only 2 places for G, either 3 or floor number 1. because the rest of the odd numbers have already been picked up by A and F. So between 3 and 1, we'll have to try and fit in G and E. They are the only two odd numbers left out. So let's assume that G is in floor number 3. If G is in floor number 3, D cannot be here, nor can be D here, because D is not the immediate neighbor of G. Okay, that is taken care of. So they also say G, between G and E there is only one floor. Where have they mentioned? Here they have mentioned. Only one person lives between E and G. So E should either be here or he should be here. Okay, now the problem arises. The problem is with respect to D, because when it comes to E and D, there should, between E and D, there should be a gap of 2 floors. If E is placed in the floor number 1, 1 floor gap, 2 floor gap, D can be here. He has to be there according to the rule. But D cannot be there, because then if he is placed in floor number 4, he becomes a neighbor of G, which according to the rule he cannot be. Then if E is placed here, once again the only place or only floor where D can be placed with the 2 floors gap will be 1, 2, floor number 2. That is also not possible, but because G and D will once again be neighbors. So that means in the present situation, D cannot be placed anywhere. What is that present situation? Let me quickly recall. G is in floor number 3 and E is in floor number 1, because those are the only odd numbers left. So now we will interchange. We will put E in floor number 3 and G in floor number 1 and see if we can meet all the conditions. Okay, so E will be placed here and G will be placed here. Now let us see if this works out. Now there is a gap of 1 floor between E and G. That condition is satisfied. The second condition with regard to E is there should be at least 2 floors, or rather there should be 2 floors between D and E. So now 2 floors gap here means 1 floor gap, 2 floor gap. D can be placed in floor number 6. So that is something which we can easily do. So that is done, that is taken care of. So now we have sorted out the places of A, D, F, E and G. Who are left out now? The only ones who are left out are B and C. So how do we place them and where to place them? That is easily done, because there is one more condition here which is mentioned, wherein they say both B and C live on even number. That is fine. G and C live in between 2 floors. That means there is a gap of how many floors between G and C? 2 floors. Where is G? Ground floor or floor number 1. And 2 floors gap means 4th floor. So that is where we will have to place C. And which is the floor which is still unoccupied? That is floor number 2. So that is where we will place B. That's it. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts with regard to the placing of the occupants in respective floors, please do ask. Once again, the order would be A on top floors, that is 7, on 6th floor D, then 5th floor F, that is already given in the problem, 4th floor C, then 3rd floor E, 2nd floor B, and 1st floor G. Of course, you cannot take so much time in the exam. You are expected to solve this within seconds. But is it even possible? Of course, yes. Here to explain all this, I took so much time. But if you have to solve, you can easily solve with practice within a minute. So if you can do that, then you should be able to crack CSEET very easily. Okay, let's move on to the second question. Okay. Now this is a very easy question. So nothing much is happening here anyway. All that you have to do is just look at the question and try to answer. You'll have to look and then answer. It's kind of verbal reasoning, sorry, non-verbal reasoning, wherein you'll be looking at things and then answer. Now, in the following series of numbers, find out how many times 1, 3 and 7 have appeared together. Okay, that's easily done. All that we have to do is identify how many times 1, 3 and 7 have appeared together. Being in the middle, so okay, 7 being in the middle and 1 and 3 on either side of the 7. Okay, there is one condition though. 7 should be in the middle and 1 and 3 should be on either side. Okay, so let us try to identify if there is any such instance wherein 173 or 371 is there in the series. It could be 371 or 173. 7 should be in the middle and 1 and 3 should be on either sides. Let's see. So we have 173 here. So 7 is in the middle and 3 and 1 on either side. Where else do we have that? Once again we have 173, 7 in the middle and 3 and 1 on either side. Then once again we have 173 where we have 3 and 1 on either side. So how many instances are there? 1, 2 and 3. 3 times there is occurrence of this particular rule. The question would be how many times are 1, 7 and 3 are together where 7 is in the middle. She says 3, of course yes, she is right. Next, let us look at the second question here. The numbers have been arranged under some rule. Based on that rule, which number will come in the place of question mark? That is the question now. We have 4, 5, 8, 17 and 44. What is this? How do we answer this question? Okay, this is slightly difficult. Let's see if you can answer. We have 4, then 5. All of a sudden we directly jump to 8. Then we have 17. Then we have 44. How do we answer this question? Anyone? Can you tell me what is to be placed in question mark? See, sometimes what happens, the series will not be direct. There won't be any direct relationship between 4, 5, 5, 8, 17, 8. There might be indirect relationship, like, for instance, there might be relationship between 4 and 8 and relationship between 5 and 17 and maybe 8 and 44, like alternate numbers. So our job is to identify that. So now, okay. So here 5 minus 4 again 1, 8 minus 5 will be 3, 5 minus 4 1, 8 minus 5 3, 17 minus 8 here 9, 44 minus 17, if someone can do the math, 44 minus 17, 27. I think I have found the pattern. Okay, if you can identify the next number, it would be easy. I mean, you can easily identify. Now that we have found out the pattern, there is nothing much to do. See, between 5 and 4, what is the difference? 1. 8 and 5, 3. 17 and 8, 9. 44 and 17, 27. So that means we have 1, then we have 3, 3 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 2, 3 to the power of 3. Okay, 3 to the power of 1 is 3 itself. 3 square is 9, then we have 3 cube 27. All that we have to find out is how much is 3 to the power of 4. So that will be the difference between this and the next number. That is what we have to identify. So let us identify that first. 27 into 3, that will be 81. So now what we have to do is we have to write something here which will give us the difference between that number and 44 as 81. So easily it can be done. 41 plus 80, sorry, 44 plus 81. So this will be 4 plus 1, 5, 125. So the answer to this question is, the question mark should be replaced by 125. When you do that, you will get this number, wherein 3 to the power of 1, 3 square, 3 cube, and 3 to the power of 4. I hope it was easy. If you have any doubts, please do ask. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Arrange the following words as per the order in the dictionary. This is a very easy question. I think you on your own can do this, not a big deal. Let me just move this a bit up. See, now what we have to do is, in the first 3 letters of every word, do we see any change? It's all TOR, TOR, TOR. Okay, so there is no change at all. We have tortoise, torrid, torso, torque, and torches. Okay, so there is nothing which we can see as a difference here. But from the 4th letter onwards, it changes. We have T here, we have R here, we have S, Q, and T again. Okay, so now we have to find out which one comes first, because they have asked us to arrange the odd words in dictionary order. So now if you have to go by dictionary order, so we have P, Q, R, S, T. Okay, so we have Q here, which is torque. That would be the first word according to the dictionary order. If you look at dictionary, you will get this as the first word. Then Q is done. Then we have R. In which of these 5 instances the 4th letter is R? That is in choice number 2. So that will be the second word, torrid. Then this is also done. Then we have S, that is torso. So that will be the 3rd word. Then what do we have? T. So in case of T, we have 2 words with 4th letter T. Which are those 2 words with 4th letter T? Tortoise and torches. Okay, in this case, the 5th letter is O, here the 5th letter is U. So this will come first, that is option number 1 will come first. So that will be the 4th word, and this will be the 5th word. So what do we have? So the right question, or rather the right arrangement would be 4, 2, 3, then 1 and 5. Okay. Ayushi says 2, 3, 1, 5, 4. How is that possible, Ayushi? 2, 3, 1, 5, 4. I didn't get you. The right arrangement would be 4, 2, 3, 1, 5. 4 means torque. That will be the first word in the dictionary. Then will be option number 2, which is torrid. Okay. Then we will have 3, that is torso. We will have first one, that is tortoise, and finally torches. I hope it is clear. Any doubts here with regard to this question? I hope there is no confusion here. Okay, let's move on then to the next question. Okay, this is a very easy question. I think within seconds you can crack this. In the following question, insert the missing number in place of the question mark from the given alternatives. Of course, I have removed the alternatives because it was too easy. So now, without even looking at the alternatives, can you tell me what should come in this place? We have 9, 6, 5, question mark, 48 and 40. This is how it is, right? These kind of questions can be expected, and you are expected to answer within seconds. No one? Not even one person? Okay. See, I will explain the logic. Very simple. How much is 5 into 8? 5 into 8 is 40. Okay. Then how much is 6 into 8? That is 48. So what is happening here is this number is getting multiplied by 8 and the result will be in the opposite diagonal, or rather the opposite space. This number again is multiplied by 8 and the result is on the opposite diagonal. So now all that we are left with is number 9. So 9 into 8, that's it. So this will be 72, and in this case the box will be filled with number 72. As simple as that. See, here what we are essentially doing is we are detecting the rules. The rule here was number 6 multiplied by 8, number 5 multiplied by 8, number 9 multiplied by 8, and the result will be in respective places. That's it. Okay, Aishi says 72, Manjunath says 72. I hope you two identified or found out the answer on your own. If you did, very good. Let's move on to the next question. Once again, a very easy non-verbal question. Take a look at the question and the diagram below the question and tell me, or rather try to answer. It's a very easy question once again. In the following figure, triangle represents girls, okay, rectangle players, and circle coach. Which part of the diagram represents the girls who are players but not coach? Okay, this is nothing but like your set theory. Triangle is nothing but girls, players we have a rectangle, and for the coach we have a circle. The question is, which part in this diagram we have girls who are players but not coach? Okay, Aishi says Q. Okay, so now let us look at Q. Is Q within the triangle? Yes, so that means they are girls. Is Q within the rectangle? Yes, it is also within the rectangle. That means they are girls who are players. But is Q within this circle? Of course not. Q is outside the circle. If Q is outside the circle, that means Q is not a coach. That means Q is a girl who is a player but not a coach. So that is exactly what the question asked, and Q is in fact the right answer. She good. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. Okay, we have coding and decoding here. This is also part of the syllabus, wherein let me write the code again. NSOPTRKLICHN. Okay, we have some random letters jumbled. It stands for apparently Sharma gets marriage gift. Okay, this is what it means. But what you should remember is these letters which are in groups need not be in the same order. That is something which you have to remember. It will be in different order. Okay, now there is one more set here. PTRLNMWOPCHM. Okay, this stands for wife gives marriage gift. Okay, so okay, fine. Again, you have to remember there is no necessity that it should be in the same order. Lastly, we have TTIWOPNHI, which means he gives nothing. Now the question is, what would mean gives? What is the code for the word gives? So that can be easily identified. What you have to do is, you'll have to look at this phrase and this phrase, which is in English. Now tell me, which is the common word in both the phrases? Wife gets marriage gift, wife gives marriage gift, he gives nothing. Wife gives marriage gift, he gives nothing. Which is the word which is common? The common word here is gives. Isn't it? There is nothing else which is common. and they say what is the code for gives. Now we have to do is look at the common code in both this and this instance. So we have PTR here, we don't have PTR here. We have LNN here, we do not have LNN here. We have WOP here, we have WOP here as well. We have CHM here, we do not have CHM there. So the only thing which is common is WOP. The only word which is common is gives, and the only phrase which is common in both the decoded form is WOP. So therefore, what means gives? WOP. Wasn't it easy to crack? So this was a very easy question. Anyway, we have two correct answers. Chinmay Kashyap and Aishi Singh both have given the right answer. Of course, it is WOP. Good. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. In the following question, which number will replace the question mark? We have three squares here and numbers around the square, and there is one inside this square as well. What to do? We have to identify this question mark, that is the question mark 1. Okay. From 5, 3, 4 and 2, how do we arrive at 12? Because usually if there is something outside and something inside, wait, circle or triangle, square, rectangle, whatever it is, you should perform something here to get this. Likewise, you should perform something here to get 18. Okay, likewise, you should perform something here 5, 2, 9, 2 to get something else. We have to identify that number. That is the question here. So how do we do that? Anyone? Were you able to crack this code? If you are able to, please do let me know. Okay, let me just give myself some space. Now, let me try this. 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 4. Will we get 12 in that case? 8 plus 2, 10. 10 plus 4, we'll get 14. So obviously that is not working out in this case. So what else should we do then? Let's multiply. If addition is not working, obviously subtraction will definitely not work. If I have to multiply, it would be 5 into 3 into 2 into 4. So 5 3s are 15. 15 into 2 will be 30. 30 into 4 will be 120. Okay. We'll let that remain as it is for a second, and then we'll move to the next diagram. Let's do the same thing here as well. 5 into 3 into 6 into 2. So 5 3s are, we have 15 once again. So 15 into 6 will be 90. 90 into 2 will be 180. Okay. Do you see a pattern here? What is happening here? Here we have 120, here we have 180. From 120, how do we get 12? Very simple, divide that by 10, you will get 12. From 180, how do we get 18? Divide that by 10, you will once again get 18, just like we got in the first square. So now what should we do here in the last diagram? Once again, do the same thing, multiply. 5 into 9 into 2 into 2. 5 9s are 45. 45 into 2 will be 90. 90 into 2 will be 180. Once again, divide this by 10 like we have done here and here. So 180 by 10 will be once again 18 like we got in the previous instance. That's it. So the answer to this question would be number 18. Okay. Chinmay and Manjunath have given the right answer. Number 18. Good. Let's move to the next one. Okay, this is related to blood relations. J is the only son of R. J is the brother of L. L's father-in-law is W, L's son is K, K's maternal grandfather is D, W's son is Q, and M is the daughter of Q. How is M related to L? How is D related to Q? If you can crack this while I am working this out, it would be great. Let's see how to solve this. So first of all, we'll have to draw the relationship diagram. Now, J is the only son of R. J is the brother of L. Okay, that itself gives a lot of information, the first two sentences. Okay, let me write J here. 1 second, guys. Okay, J is the only son of R. Okay, that is done. And J is the brother of L. Now tell me, what is the relationship between J and L? What are they? R has only one son. Who is that? J. And J has, in fact, J is the brother of L. If this is the case, what is the relationship between J and L? And who is L to J and who is L to R? That is my question. It's a very easy question to answer. Okay, Ayushi says brother. Correct. J is the brother, or rather son of R. L would be daughter. Okay. Now, what else is given? L's father-in-law is W. Okay. Let me write that somewhere here. W is father-in-law of L. Okay. Now, L has a son. L's son is K. Okay. L has a son, that is K. Fine, son. Then K's maternal grandfather is D. Maternal grandfather means mother's father. Okay. Who is mother of K? L. Who is L's father? That is D. If D is L's father, then who is R to L? R would be mother and D would be father. Or you can say husband and wife. D is the husband, R is the wife. I hope it is clear. Next, W's son is Q. W has a son Q. And L is in fact the wife of Q. We will assume because nothing else is given. So Q and L are husband and wife. M is the daughter of Q. So they have one daughter, M. Q and L have one daughter, that is M. That means K and M are siblings. Okay, brother and sister. Now let us look at the question. Now you should be able to answer the question. How is M related to L? How is M related to L? Or rather, what is M to L? Okay, Ayushi has a very interesting question. Without pen and paper, how is this even possible? It is not. Trust me, it is not possible at all. In fact, I raised the same question when the institute for the first time conducted this Q&A or FAQ session for CSEET while they were conducting under proctor mode. I raised this question, how is this even possible? They said you have to use your mental ability. That's all they said. Every time someone asks this type of question, they said the same thing. Even they are not sure, they do not know what to do. That's why probably I'm hoping at least that they will not ask these type of questions, but that doesn't mean that you should not be ready. You should be ready because tomorrow, the vaccine is out, maybe by the time the exam is conducted, the institute may conduct these exams in regular centers where pen and paper and calculator will be allowed. If that is the case, then you can expect these type of questions. So we should be ready. So that is why we are solving these type of questions now. Anyway, now tell me, answer the question. How is M related to L? It's there in the solution which I just now worked out. How is M related to L? What is M to L? M is none other than daughter of L. Okay, this is something which we just know. So, daughter. M is the daughter, L is the mother. Then, how is D related to Q? D related to Q, at least this you should be able to explain. What is D to Q? D is nothing but father-in-law. Father-in-law of Q. That's it. I hope it was easy. If you have any doubts, please do ask. Let's move to the next one. Okay, that's all with respect to the questions. So if you have anything else to ask, please do ask. Otherwise, we will end the live session. See, this was just a sample of the entire syllabus. So you can expect these type of questions even in the reference material. What I would suggest is try to work out these questions first, and maybe later on you can look at other questions which are available on the net. And of course, it goes without saying, Ekcel Academy also has a specific course for CSEET which is available at a very you can say less price compared to others, and we have already recorded all the sessions, and also we'll be conducting live sessions specifically for our students through Zoom, and we'll be trying to clear the doubts which our students may get from time to time. So having said that, if you are preparing for CSEET, all the best, and please do consider that this institute may conduct the exam in the centers itself. So that is something which you should be open to, and if that is the case, you will be allowed to use pen and paper and also the calculator. So if that is the case, you cannot expect easy questions. You will be expected to answer these type of questions which we just now solved. So if there is anything else, I would be happy to answer. If not, we will end the live session. Thank you for attending the live session. All the best.